spare a thought for Luis Mendez and also Palmyra. They need your best wishes today. More about that a little bit later on. Hi everybody, here we go. English Addict is back with you live from the birthplace of English, which just happens to be England. Okay, let's go. Oh, there you are. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope you are feeling happy today. I hope you are feeling very good. For those wondering, by the way, if there is a problem with the live stream, there is a reason. Mr. Steve has decided to get his computer to do something quite time-consuming and also something that will use a lot of the internet. So if my live stream is a little bit strange today, please don't worry too much about it. I'm hoping it will get a little bit better. In fact, I might have to go off for a second to pull Mr. Steve's device out of my internet connection. Because to be honest with you, I have a feeling it's going to cause some problems today. Anyway, here we are. Mr. Duncan is my name, by the way. I talk about the English language and sometimes, if I'm lucky, I can actually get some internet connection. But Mr. Steve has gone out and he's left his computer doing something that requires a lot of internet speed. All I can say is I can't wait until we get high-speed internet. In fact, if you wait for a moment, I'm going to do something because I know I'm going to get told off for doing this by Mr. Steve, but I have to do this. If I don't know what I'm going to do, to be honest. Okay, I think we are back and I think everything is now okay. So we will try again. Apologies for that. I am very, very sorry about that. So we will do it all over again. Hello everyone. Hi, here we go. Yes, I'm back. I think it's working now. Unfortunately, over the past few days, we have had some problems with the internet, and it has been made worse by Steve deciding that he's going to do something on his computer. So he's doing an update on his computer and he's getting all of his files and he's putting them into the cloud. The only problem is it does use a lot of internet, unfortunately. So we will try again. I hope it is working now, because if it isn't, I am in big trouble. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan. You know who I am because I just told you a few moments ago. I live in England, I teach English, and sometimes my computer and my internet lets me down quite a lot. And that is the introduction out of the way. Sorry about that, but it does happen. Sometimes it does happen. Sometimes we do have problems here with the internet connection. So I think now it is better. Yes, it is. Okay. I think we are better now. Good. Dear me. You can tell this is live. Now, one of the problems, of course, is I live in the countryside and we don't have very good internet connection here, unfortunately. I can't do anything about it, but hopefully later this year we will be getting super fast internet connection. So all of this nonsense will stop. And hopefully my internet will work a lot better. Thank you very much for staying with me, even though I feel now that I've lost most of my viewers. You probably think I've gone, but I haven't. I'm still here. So please come back. Please don't leave me. Thank you very much. By the way, if you like this, if you like watching buffering on your internet device, then you are in the right place. Like my live stream, please, and then YouTube might actually show it to someone. Wouldn't that be lovely? So here we go then. We are back and it is Wednesday. I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. And I hope everything now is working all right. Is it working okay? Are we on? I really hope so. I knew this was going to be a problem. I really did. I knew we were going to have difficulty today with the live stream because I knew that Mr. Steve had been doing something upstairs on his computer. And because we only have around, I think it's around 8 megabytes of upload speed. And that's the problem, you see. When you're doing this on the internet, when you're live streaming, you have to make sure that you are sending a signal and receiving a signal so the live stream can take place. Unfortunately, one of the things I did notice is, why do ads keep playing, by the way? I don't know why ads keep playing. Something very strange is happening to my YouTube channel today. Lots of things that I have no control over, apparently. This is really, really bizarre. There are some very weird things happening today on my device, and I don't know why. Yes, Christina, there is a problem with the connection. By the way, can I say hello to Beatrice? Hello, Beatrice. Guess what? You were first on today's live stream. Yeah. At least we have something nice to talk about. Even though, can I just say hello, special hello to Palmyra, who is not feeling very well at the moment because she has broken her ankle after falling at home. So I'm sorry about that, but I hope we can cheer you up, because there is nothing worse than being stuck in one place, unable to move around. It is really, really annoying. Also, we have Lewis, who has not been feeling very well. So can I say a big hello to Lewis Mendes? Hello, Lewis. I hope you are feeling okay today as well, because you have been under the weather. I don't know why. Maybe it is because winter has arrived, and it really has. What about you, where you are? Does it feel like winter? If you do, of course, get the season of winter, because not everyone does. But if you do get winter, are you enjoying it? It is freezing cold here today. They did say we were going to get some snow, but now they've changed their mind and they've said that we're not going to get any snow. I think that is actually quite good. Who else is on the live chat? Thank you for joining me. We have Sai. We also have Dial. Hello, Dial. Nice to see you here today. Irene. Patrick is here as well. Hello to Patrick. It's so nice to see you here as well. We are talking about a lot of things today. Do you ever use batteries? That is my first question today. Do you ever use batteries? I know I do. In fact, you can see here the amount of batteries that I use. So these are actually dead batteries. These are batteries that no longer work. I have used all the power inside them. So now I have to throw them all away. We will be talking about that. Also, we will be looking at frequency. How often you do certain things. Whether you do them often or maybe sometimes. Maybe you never do them. Maybe you do them every day. Maybe you only do them from time to time. We are talking about frequency as well. Pedro is here. Oh, we have Pedro Belmont. Hello, Pedro. Nice to see you back as well, watching in Brazil. Very nice to see you. Who else is here? We have Christina. Hello, Christina. Hello, Anne Fan, who I believe is watching in Vietnam. Hello to you as well. And it's nice to see so many people watching from Vietnam also. Also on the live chat, who else is here? Oh, hello, Vitas. Vitas, you were second today. Beatrice was just slightly faster, unfortunately, but it is very nice to see you here anyway. I hope I can sort my internet connection out, because something very strange has been going on over the past 24 hours because of one certain person. You know who that person is. He is a person that sometimes causes a lot of confusion and chaos. We are talking Mr. Steve. Of course, he's not here today. For those expecting to see Mr. Steve, he is not here today. Palmyra says, thank goodness the live chat works. I spend much of my time on the internet at the moment, reading books, watching television, but now I can't go outside. There is also a huge amount of snow in my city. Is that true? Wow. I know in the United States they've had a lot of snow falling, but not here. Not here. We haven't had much snow. Well, maybe a lot in Scotland. But to be honest with you, they always get snow at this time of year. But we haven't had any snow yet. We are still waiting for it to arrive. So today we are looking at various subjects. Frequency. How frequently do you do something, a certain thing that you may or may not do? But first of all, here is a question that I often ask myself, especially when I am throwing away my old batteries. Can you see them there? So these are the batteries that I've used over the past month. And normally we have to throw them away, but you can't throw them in the household trash or the household waste. You have to send them off to be specially processed. And no one really has time to do that, if I was honest with you. So what about you? Do you use batteries very often? I know I do. And the most common one, the battery that I use the most, is the AA size, double A. And this one is a very useful battery. This goes into a lot of equipment that I use in my studio. So many of the devices, many of the things that I use in my studio, I actually use these in many of the things. Maybe you use them at home. Maybe you use them in your remote control for your television. Or maybe you use them in another device. Maybe you have an electric toothbrush. Perhaps you use the much smaller batteries. So these are the smaller ones. So those are the large ones, double A, and then you have the small ones which are triple A, and they are much smaller. We often use these in electric toothbrushes or something that is small and cannot take a large battery. But to be honest with you, I do use a lot of them, and quite often I feel quite wasteful. If something is wasteful, it means you are doing it whilst creating lots and lots of waste. And of course, I think batteries are one of the worst things to use, because afterwards they are useless when the power has run out, when they have run dry. So when something runs dry, it means all of the power or the energy has disappeared. It has gone. The battery has run dry. It has run down. It has no power left. You might say that the battery is dead. Dead. A dead battery has no power. And of course, it's very hard to recycle batteries because of all the different things that are contained within them. Some of the chemicals are quite dangerous, and some of them cannot be reused. So between you and me, I think it is... Pedro says it is impossible to stay here. Why? Why? Stay for a little while, Pedro. Keep us company. Don't go away. So I use batteries all the time. What about you? Do you think they are wasteful? Do you think they are a thing that we use, but maybe we shouldn't? They are very wasteful things. And of course, nowadays, if you are talking about the use of batteries, we also have batteries in automobiles. Cars now run with batteries. They run on electricity. So I don't think we are ever going to see the end or the requirement of batteries coming to an end. I don't think it will ever end. I think we are always going to need batteries for as long as we need electricity, because you can't always have power connected to your household supply. Sometimes you have to have something you can carry around, something portable. And if it needs to be powered, then you need batteries. So that's what I did a couple of days ago. I had to buy some more batteries. And between you and me, I am not the only person who uses batteries in this house. Mr. Steve, sometimes he will sneak into my studio and he will take some of my batteries. So a couple of days ago, I ordered some batteries and I've given some to Mr. Steve as a gift. So now he doesn't have to come into my studio and steal them when I'm not looking. So what about you? Do you use batteries at all? Batteries are collected in special containers in department stores. That is true. You are right. But how many people remember to take the batteries with them? How many people remember as they're leaving the house? How many people think, oh, I should take those batteries to the supermarket so they can be disposed of safely? And if you are like someone, well, if you are like me, I never go to the supermarket. I rarely go shopping in the supermarket. So there might be a time when I can't do it, which is most of the time when you think about it, because I don't go to the supermarket. So it can be a little awkward, to be honest. If you don't use batteries very often, then you are lucky. But nowadays, most people use batteries for something, some type of device. Even my little mouse here, you can see my mouse that I have to use to control my computer. Even this needs a mouse connector, which uses battery power. So I have to actually put batteries in this as well. I can't escape it, unfortunately. It is very hard to escape using batteries, if I was honest with you. Palmyra says, my son's car is electric and this winter is very harsh, so he has some problems. I wish Mr. Steve was here, because if Steve was here right now, he would tell us that electric cars are a terrible idea. That's what he would say. He would say, Mr. Duncan, electric cars are a terrible idea. That is what Steve would say if he was here right now. But he isn't, unfortunately. No. But yes, the problem with batteries, especially in cars, is when the temperature drops, the batteries become less efficient. So they won't give you as much power. So that is the main problem with any electric device, including your mobile phone, your smartphone. You will also notice if you go outside on a cold day, your battery will go down much quicker. You will lose the power much faster. And the reason for that is the same thing, the same reason. Christina says, I agree with Mr. Steve. It is true. It is I suppose for some people it is controversial, because a lot of people, of course, are now trying to get all of us to drive electric cars instead of having our gas guzzling motor vehicles. Of course, some people use rechargeable batteries. So you can get batteries that are rechargeable. So when the power runs down, you can recharge them. You can put power back in to the battery. So yes, it is true, but the problem is rechargeable batteries are expensive. If you buy just 2 or 3, it might be £15 or £20 just for a couple of batteries, which of course is rather expensive. So for the same price, you can probably get 15 batteries for the price of maybe a couple of rechargeable batteries, unfortunately. But it is true, if you use something that is powered by electricity and you need to be able to move around and you need to be portable, you need to be able to use that thing in many different places without having to connect it to the electricity supply, then yes, it can be difficult. Lewis, the one thing my wife never forgets is to take the batteries to the supermarket. She really is an environmentalist. I like it. The problem is I don't go to the supermarket, and you can't give your used batteries to the refuse collectors. So when they come to take our rubbish away or our trash away, you can't give the batteries to them because they won't take them. So it is a bit of a problem. If you want to dispose of them, you have to drive a long way and you have to deliver them to a special place. If you want to dispose of them carefully, you might have to drive 3 or 4 miles like we do around here. So you see, it's very difficult. I think it is one of the worst things that exists. But unfortunately, they are necessary. They are what we might call a necessary evil. So if something is described as a necessary evil, it means it is something you need, but unfortunately it might cause problems. It might cause damage. So that is the big problem, and I think it is quite a big problem. Of course, the other reason why batteries are annoying, especially if you have to keep recharging the power, especially if you drive a car that needs to always have power, is you have to connect them to something so the battery in the car will charge up. It's very, very annoying. So a lot of people do seem to ignore the fact that batteries are everywhere. And to be honest with you, the manufacture of batteries is quite destructive in the world, because certain elements, certain types of rare earth have to be dug up from out of the ground so they can make batteries. So I think it could be a problem for some of us. It could be a problem for the environment. It could be a problem for the future. So I wonder in the future, what will be the alternative? How will we deal with the problem of batteries, especially if you are someone like me and you use batteries all the time? So this collection of used batteries is just from the last 4 or 5 weeks, because I'm always using things that are powered with electricity, and they do require batteries, unfortunately. Today we are looking at 1 or 2 subjects. We are looking at battery usage. So if you use them all the time, maybe the worst thing that happens to me is when I forget to actually buy some batteries, and then I need to get some fresh batteries to put them in my electronic device, and I haven't got any batteries. So that is a big problem as well, especially when Mr. Steve keeps stealing them. So I'll be back in a moment. Hopefully the internet will work. It will continue to work, and I hope we can join each other again in a few moments, right after this. English Addict is with you, and I think I have sorted out my internet problem. Thank goodness. English Addict with you every Wednesday and Sunday. Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time. And yes, Mr. Steve will be with us next Sunday. Can I just say, I am going on a little trip next week. That's all I'm saying. So look out for something a little different next week. That's all I'm saying. I'm not giving too much away, but I am going to go out and about. In fact, I'm going quite far away from where I'm standing at this moment in time. I hope you will join me next week. Some unusual things coming up, and I know that you enjoy it when we do unusual things. Did you see the live stream last Sunday? We had a terrible time. First of all, we had difficulty with the connection. Mr. Steve and myself, we were outside in the freezing cold. And if you watched the live stream, you would have noticed at the end of the live stream itself, I was not looking too well. And the reason was my body was going into shock because it was so cold. And we had been standing outside for around about 1.5 hours doing the live stream. And I was freezing cold and my body was starting to go into some strange state of shock. I was getting hypothermia. I think that's what was happening, to be honest. Pedro says, I brought a new smartphone. The batteries are working perfectly. The old one kept turning off on its own. I think the battery was, I think it was used up because, of course, if you buy a smartphone, quite often the battery is inside the phone, but you can't remove it. You can't take the battery out of the phone. So over time, as the battery stops working, so will your phone. So when you replace the battery, you have to replace the whole phone. It's quite annoying, actually. Here is something I do sometimes. Maybe if you have one of these, a remote control for your television, sometimes you might find the batteries stop working. And I don't know if you do this, but here is something I do. I like to open the back of the remote control and then I take the batteries out and then I do this. I shake them and tap them. I like this. And I actually think that this will put some more charge into the battery. Do you do that? Do you ever do that? So this is something I often do whenever I find that my batteries are starting to run down. I normally take them out and tap them or shake them around. Or maybe some people just move them around like that because they think it will bring the charge back. Although, having said that, it does work. Have you noticed? It actually does work. So your batteries will carry on working for a short period of time. So I think it does actually work. Patrick has a bicycle that is powered by batteries. That's interesting. Now I know in places like China, electric bicycles are incredibly popular. They really are. And a lot of people do use them in their day-to-day life. Thank you for joining me today. It's nice to see you all here. Sorry about the problems we had at the start. It's not my fault. It is the internet's fault. Not my fault. Hello, Jimmy. How will you recharge yourself daily, Mr. Duncan? Well, fortunately, I do not require batteries to power my body, although I do need lots of food. Palmyra says, Mr. Duncan, in your last stream you mentioned Coventry. I thought it is very far away from your place, and I know that this city was heavily bombed during the Second World War. You are right. Yes, Coventry was bombed heavily. In fact, there was a lot of destruction in Coventry including the cathedral itself was also destroyed by the bombing during the Second World War. So you are correct. You are right, Palmyra, about that. We are looking at frequency. Frequency. That is the subject we are going to look at for the next few moments. When we talk about frequency, we often talk about things that we do during a certain amount of time, or maybe the quantity of times that we do something, or of course how often we do it. So quite often, frequently, you will do something. So maybe in your day-to-day life there will be something that you do generally, maybe something you have to do, maybe something you have no choice in doing. You do it often. You might do it frequently. You will do it from time to time. So when we talk about frequency, we will often ask, how frequent? How frequent? So maybe a general question that you will ask someone, you will ask, how frequently do you go to the supermarket? How frequently do you go out for a meal? So when we talk about frequency, we are talking about how often or how frequently you do something. So generally speaking, frequency refers to how often something occurs. The occurrence is the actual happening. When something happens, it occurs. Frequency refers to how many times it happens, or how often you do something. How often something occurs will often refer to frequency. How often you do it. How regular a thing is done or happens. So when we talk about frequency, maybe over a certain period of time, or maybe generally, we will talk about frequency. How often do you have to do something? How regular a thing is done. Some interesting comments on today's live chat. Thank you. Keep them coming, please. Keep them coming. Another word or another way of expressing frequency is how often you do it, or maybe how often you don't do it. So if you do something frequently, you do it regularly. Regular means often. You regularly go to the supermarket. You do it in a regular way. You do it often. And then we have irregular. So the opposite of regular is irregular, which is not often. I don't often go to the supermarket. I don't often go out to eat because it's too expensive. That's the reason why. You might do something sometimes. You do it sometimes. So that means you don't do it all the time. Maybe you don't do that particular thing every day, but you do it sometimes. You do it now and again. And then, of course, we have the opposite. You can do something many times. Maybe a thing that you do or a thing that you have to do many times. You have no choice. You must do that thing. So we often use frequency to show how often we do something, or maybe how often we don't do something. And in a moment we will look at various words, various ways of expressing things we do a lot and things we don't do a lot. There are, of course, certain things in your life that you do quite a lot or quite often. There are. I can think of at least 2 things straight away. 2 things that we do often. We do maybe on a daily basis. To do something on a daily basis means you do it every day. I go to sleep every night. So every day, or at the end of every day, I will go to sleep. Sometimes I go to sleep more than once a day. But enough about that. That is too much information right there. So you might do something sometimes, or you do it many times. You do it often. When we talk about frequency, we can say that there is a scale of frequency. So when we talk about things that you do sometimes or even never, and then we can go right up the scale to things that you do quite often or even all the time, always. So there is a scale. When we talk about scales, we talk about things that are in a particular order. So we go from things you do sometimes or never right up to things that you do all the time or things that you do maybe every day or even every hour. Some people have to take medicine. So maybe if you are taking a certain type of medicine, you might have to do that every hour or maybe 2 or 3 times every day. You have to do it regularly. So we are talking about the frequency, the number of times that you have to do something. And there are many ways of looking at it. You might say that you never do something. Never means it does not happen. Something you do not do. You never do it. And then, of course, we have the opposite, which is always. You always do something. You never stop doing it. Maybe you are a person who likes doing a certain thing. Maybe you like listening to music. Maybe you always have music playing nearby when you are doing something at home. And maybe, if you are like me, I don't always have music playing in the house. In fact, quite often, I never have music playing. Sometimes it can be quite distracting, especially when I'm working here at my computer. So quite often I won't listen to music. In fact, I think it is safe to say, whilst working, I never listen to music. But some people do like to have music playing nearby. So when we look at how often we do something, how often, we might say that we never do something. So that means it never happens. Something I never do. Maybe a habit that you don't have. I don't do that thing. I never bite my fingernails. I never pick my nose. And then something we do rarely. So maybe you might do it now and again. Something you rarely do. It is almost never. I almost never pick my nose. I rarely pick my nose. I seldom pick my nose. Okay, I never do it. But for just for this lesson, we will use picking your nose as an example. So if you seldomly do something, you do it seldom, it means you almost never do it. You never do it, you rarely do it, you seldom do it. We can also say infrequently. If you do something infrequently, it means you do it from time to time. Not always, very rarely, infrequently. We also have occasionally as well. There it is. Occasionally. Something you do, not always, not often, but you do that thing occasionally. Occasionally, I like to invite some of my friends around to the house. Not always. It doesn't happen very often. It happens occasionally. And then we have sometimes. Sometimes I like to go for a walk. Sometimes I like to lie down on the bed and listen to some soothing music to help me relax. Sometimes. So you can see as we go down the list, you can see that the thing we are doing is becoming more regular. You can see that we are starting to do that thing more and more, from never to sometimes. And finally, on this particular list, we have now and again. Now and again means you do something if you feel like it. You do something if you are in the mood. You do it now and again. I don't do that all the time. I just do it now and again. Now and again, I like to go out and count the birds in my garden. I don't do it all the time. I do it now and again. I do it occasionally. I do it sometimes. So when we are looking at frequency, we are often looking at how often something occurs. Then we have our second list. And if you notice here on this list, we are slowly building up to how often we do a particular thing. So you can see at the top, you have not always, then we have from time to time, as needed. Now this is an interesting one. When we say that we do something as needed, it means we do it when we have to do it. Something you do may be something you don't want to do, but you have to do it. You do it as needed. So when you have to do it, you do it. But you don't do it all the time. You do it as needed. And then we start to get more regular as the words go down the list. You can see frequently. Frequently means I do this thing quite often. I frequently go for a walk. I do it quite often. I do it many times. Then we have almost always. If you do something almost always, it means you are doing it very often. You are doing it frequently. I almost always go for a walk in the morning. Almost always. Not always, but almost always. And then we have this word, routinely. To do something routinely means you do a particular thing at a certain time. So you are doing that thing at a certain time. You are doing it routinely. Maybe every morning at 8:30. Maybe you go out for a walk. You do it routinely. You do it as a daily thing. You take your daily exercise. You do something routinely. Maybe you do it at a particular time or a certain time of the day. Routinely. Next week, I am going for my routine checkup at the dentist. So next Thursday, I will be going to the dentist. I don't go to the dentist all the time. I go routinely. When I have to go, I go. But I don't go all the time. And then, of course, on the list we have, finally, always. I always means you are doing it often. You are doing it frequently. You do it a lot. So we can go from never doing something to always doing something. So never is the least, always is the most. I never do something, I always do something. How often can also refer to a particular time or a particular sequence of time. Maybe you do something annually. You might be able to see that at the top. Annually. How often do you do something? You might do it annually. To do something annually means you do it every year. Maybe you do it once. Maybe you do it twice. You do it every year. Maybe you have to send your tax return, which a lot of people are doing at the moment here in the UK. A lot of people are now having to send their tax invoice. We don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. No one wants to do it. But we have to do it. And we normally do it every year. We do it annually. Quite often you will have to pay your bills. If you have bills to pay, quite often you will pay your bills monthly. So every month you will have to pay your bills. But of course, many people are also paid. Their salary is given monthly as well at the end of every month. But of course, the bad thing is, at the end of every month, you have to pay your bills as well. Some people have to do things weekly. You have to do it once a week. So maybe you are paid in your job. Maybe you receive your salary once a week. You receive your weekly salary or your weekly payment. You do it weekly. Then, of course, daily. Maybe there are things you have to do every day. Maybe you go for a run or a walk. You do it daily. Maybe you practice your English. Perhaps you practice your English daily, which is something that I often encourage my students to do. Daily. You might do something hourly. You do it hourly. You do it every hour. Maybe you do it once every hour. Every minute. You do it all the time. Every minute. So maybe a person who has a bad habit. Oh, my poor internet is playing up again. My internet is playing up frequently, quite a lot, often, in fact, all the time. maybe. I hope you can still see me and hear me. If you can't, then I am in big trouble. The stream is breaking, Mr. Duncan. Oh, there is nothing I can do about it. I think it might be working, it might not. I don't know. So when you do something annually, it is once a year. If you do something every second, it means you are always doing it. You are doing it literally all the time. I am going in a moment for two reasons. One, it is time to go, and two, my internet is being a real pain in the neck. And I have no idea why. Maybe it is the cold weather that is causing it to happen. I don't know. But one thing I do know is it is very annoying. I will be back with you on Sunday. I hope you can hear me right now as I say this. I will be back with you on Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. Thanks for watching, and I hope I can sort out the problem with my internet, and hopefully we will be back together on Sunday without any problems. See you later. Catch you soon. This is Mr. Duncan saying thank you for watching. And I will see you later. And of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next. Ta-ta for now.